All right, what is up, everyone? We are live after the Texas race. And when it was all said and done, Joey Logano gets the win in the AAA Insurance Penske Ford Dark Horse Mustang. But it wasn't without several restarts. In fact, 12 cautions, only 10 if you don't count the stage breaks, which I feel like they're sticking in there. They went from caution to caution, I guess, to get those stage break cautions in there, but only 10 from my count. But the Michael McDowell wreck was the last one that set up the Jolo win. But then you had Custer, KFB, Keselowski, and Cindric right before that. Then you had that one with the 77 and the 60 and the 51 before that. Then you had Kyle Busch wrecking by himself. Then you had Bubba Wallace either chopping down the 22 or the 22 running into the back of Bubba Wallace. So within the last, I would say, I don't know, 50 laps, we had what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cautions. Cautions breed cautions, I think is what Darrell Waltrip used to say, if I'm remembering correctly. And that is very true today. But at the end of it, when all was said and done, Joe Logano gets the win. Ross Chastain in second place. There's going to be a few guys that came out of nowhere here. Ross Chastain just continued to make his car better and better throughout the race. And he ends up in the second place, tried to steal one, but couldn't quite get there. Joey with the air block there at the end holds on to the win. Ryan Blaney had a good car all day today, too. Another guy who methodically worked his way up through the field. All three of these guys actually methodically worked their way up through the field, and that is your top three. Blaney at times looked like he had the car to beat, but I think he needed a longer run to get it done. Didn't take off on those restarts particularly well. Another man, at least at the very end, who didn't take off well on restarts was Kyle Larson. Previous to this in the race, he had taken off well. I don't know if he just got into a bad groove or whatever, got into the dirty marbles or whatever like that. But I don't know. One of those restarts, second to last restart, I think, it ate him up, or third to last restart. I don't remember. Ruined his chance of winning the race. And once he lost the clean air, he was not quite the threat that he was. Eric Jones, just a solid, steady day, picking him up and putting them down one by one. He ends up in fifth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in sixth. And then, literally out of nowhere, classic Austin Dillon finishing in seventh place here, doing what he and Justin Alexander do best, just showing up out of nowhere. John Hunter Nemechek in eighth place. A good run for both of the Legacy Motor Club drivers here today. Christopher Bell in ninth, and Daniel Suarez with a nice 10th place finish. So you got Trackhouse, two of them in the top 10 here. And despite qualifying poorly, it was a good, I think overall, a good finish for SVG, considering how poorly he ran today. He ended up in 22nd just to cap off your Trackhouse stuff there. But below him in 11th, Daniel Suarez in 11th was Todd Gilliland, Pickle Todd with a nice 11th place there. Ty Dillon in 12th, William Byron 13th, Riley Herbst 14th, Justin Haley 15th. So that is your top 10. 16 through 20 going to be Justin Haley, Chase Elliott, Zane Smith, Chris Buescher, and Cole Custer. Kyle Busch, after the crash damage multiple times, ends up in 20th. Tyler Reddick, one of the victims of one of those particular spins or whatever, when he chopped the nose of the 99 car of Daniel Suarez, ends up in 21st. SVG, like I said earlier, 22nd. Ty Gibbs had a good car today, but he ends up in 23rd, a victim of one of those cautions, I believe, or at least one of the cycles. Carson Hocevar, another one that had a good car, he ends up in 24th, didn't have it for him. Austin Cindric ends up in 25th. And Michael McDowell, who had a really good car, the two-tire strategy was working out until it didn't with all the restarts. Then he overdrove it, and that was a wrap for him. But I like that he was going for it. Nobody's going to try harder than Michael McDowell trying to get Spire a win there. He ends up in 26th, unfortunately, though. Chase Briscoe, another one. A lot of heavy hitters here as we're going to go through here. Chase Briscoe, 27th. Brad Keselowski, 28th. Ryan Preece, 29th. Cody Ware, 30th. All of them involved in incidents. Jesse Love, 31st. Josh Berry, who was leading the race before he went over the bumps and lost it, in 32nd here. Bubba Wallace, like I said, depending on how you look at it, he either chopped the 22 or the 22 ran into him. We never got a great view of it from the Fox replay. He ends up 33rd. Noah Gregson involved in several incidents, 34th. Alex Bowman, 35th. AJ Allmendinger, 35th. Chad Fincham, 37th. And Denny Hamlin, JDA, with the blown engine at the beginning of this one, ends up 38th. Your two stage winners, Austin Cindric and Kyle Larson. And so after that, the points look like this. William Byron continues to be your leader, but it is shrunk down to minus 13 to Kyle Larson. Denny Hamlin is minus 83. Chase Elliott's also minus 83, so tied for JDA with a third and fourth, although you got to give a tip of the nod there to Hamlin because he has more wins, so he will be the third place solely on that criteria as it stands right now. Tyler Reddick, fifth. Christopher Bell, sixth. Ryan Blaney, seventh. Bubba Wallace in eighth place. Ninth place for Joey Logano, who just secured his place in the playoffs with that win. Alex Bowman in 10th. Ross Chastain, 11th. Chris Buescher, 12th. Chase Briscoe, 13th. Austin Cindric, 14th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 15th. Kyle Busch is 16th. However, because Josh Berry has the win and is below Kyle Busch in points, that's going to bump Kyle Busch out. So Kyle Busch, even though he's 16th, going to be the last man on the outside looking in as it stands right now. Carson Hocevar, 17th. Ryan Preece, 18th. AJ Allmendinger, 19th. Michael McDowell, 20th. Austin Dillon, 21st. And where is Josh Berry? Josh Berry, 24th, but does have the win, so he will be in the playoffs. All right, let's jump into the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. Was curious about the race. How was the race to you guys? Loved it. It was okay, average, or bad race. Right now, 38% saying it was either okay or they loved it. So overwhelmingly, a pretty good race. I think the cautions helped it out a bit. It did seem kind of hard to pass once somebody got clean air, but it is what it is. Logano may have won, but I take solace in the fact that it's an uneven year, so no championship for him, says Shy. And Jamie Schweitzer called the win earlier that Joe Logano would win as well. Jamie Schweitzer saying Logano is the master of Phoenix. He will survive the playoffs and win the championship for a fourth time. Write it down, says Jamie Schweitzer. Shy saying LOL to that. What's up in between the lanes? Good to see you on here as always, my friend. Jamie Schweitzer saying tied for 23rd winningest driver in Cup history. So Joey Logano is now tied for 23rd. Already been sent to NASCAR, says Shy. The top lane was non-existent. Bulldoze, Texas, says 777 horsepower next gen. So yeah, that's kind of what I saw too. It was really hard to pass here once somebody got clean air. So it's I don't know. It got bailed out, I think, by a lot of good cautions and things like that. But aside from that, if it weren't for the cautions, I think we might be having a different conversation about this race. No doubt about it. Jolo turns 35 this month, says Jamie Schweitzer. So there you go. 5 more years of him being in his prime is all I'm seeing there. I was hoping for a Chase Briscoe and, of course, a good KFB finish in the 7-11 color, says in between lanes. Yeah, Kyle Busch had a good run going, but he did the same thing Josh Berry did. It was just however your car could get over those bumps. And those two cars, the way they were set up, didn't go over those bumps very well, and it cost them there at the end. Legacy double top 10, says in between the lanes. Yeah, what a turnaround for Legacy thus far in the season compared to last season, although you couldn't get much worse. Blaney was slow pulling out of his pit box too, says Tim Brace. Yeah, super slow pit stop there for Blaney. They showed at the end that Kyle Larson beat him in every aspect, getting into the pits, getting out of the pits, and all that good stuff. So it was very interesting from that perspective. Austin Dillon, top 10, says in between the lanes. Indeed. Austin Dillon doing what he does. He just keeps it clean and goes out there and gets a good finish. At times in this race, Shane Van Gisbergen looked like he was going to do the same thing until the very end there, where he was sort of eat up on one of those restarts. BD Scotty Mack podium, Kyle Kirkwood and Scott Dixon 11th and 12th respectively. Palou dominated at Skip Barber. So there you go. There is your Indy rundown from in between the lanes. Much appreciated. There in between the lanes. Denny's streak of 21 races finishing on a mile and a half came to an end. Indeed, the engine couldn't hold together for the law firm of JDA. But on to the next one. Way to stay consistent, AD, says work phone. Yeah, for sure. Austin Dillon, he never gave up in this race. There were times in this race where his car didn't look good. There was a time when he was just fading to the back of the pack at either the end of the first stage or the beginning of the second stage. But they kept working on the car, got it right. He stayed patient. He didn't do anything crazy, and he got what he could get out of the car and brings it home, gets a nice 7th place there. So a big day for them for sure. Denny Hamlin back to no progressive finishes wise in those progressive colors is in between the lanes. So, yeah, looking like the Petty Blue is not not the preferred particular colors there for the number 11. Don't forget to hit the like button, y'all. It's free, says Rosie. Hi, y'all from North Idaho, says Cassandra. What's up, Cassandra? What is up, North Idaho? And yeah, if you want to hit the like button, it would be much appreciated. Appreciate you there, Rosie. I think the cautions kind of saved this race, says Jesse Daly. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think the cautions helped this out quite a bit. It seemed like a lot better racing because they were all bunched up from the cautions. But I think if this thing had had a long green flag run to the finish, I think a lot of people would have been not happy necessarily with the way it ended. As far as it goes, killed my fantasy day though. Yeah, fantasy wise, I haven't even looked at that yet, and I don't know if it's been updated. Let me. How does this work? I forget. Yeah, I don't know how this thing works. Oh, here we go. Live race results. Mm-mm-mm. Looks like Dirty Def won the weekend here. Dirty Def went in the weekend with a 197. I had a 192. I finished in second. So, and Enzo was in third. So that looks like the finishing order for this overall. Top 10 going to be one wise guy in fourth, Joseph Wooten fifth, Cameron Moss in sixth, say Kyle Not Cow in seventh, tied with Rusty Beechwood. Sir Wood Rooster is in ninth, and Tommy Dubs and Chicken Nuts are tied for 10th. So there you go. Toothpaste Racing 12th, and Shaw is 13th. So there is your rundown from fantasy. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting week as far as fantasy goes. Like at times in this race, you felt good, and then at times you felt like all your drivers were out of it. So good point. Not a good day fantasy wise for me. Says in between the lanes. So in between the lanes, one of the ones that did not benefit from this particular fantasy event. What happened with Kyle Busch? Not sure. Says Jamie Schweitzer. So Kyle Busch went high trying to get a run on Michael McDowell in let's see, one, two, three, fourth, the fourth to last caution. And once he went over the bumps, he lost the car, and that's kind of what cost him. Very similar to what Josh Berry did when he was running up on lap traffic, except this wasn't lap traffic. This was actually a pass for second place if he had pulled it off. Am I correct? No one lost a tire today, right? Says Jamie Schweitzer. As far as the lug nut goes, nobody lost a tire. Few tire carcasses were out there. I know the 17 lost a tire carcass, but I don't think anybody missed a lug nut. So at least all the pit crew members are safe. I think for this race, I didn't see any of those penalties that are going to be handed down from NASCAR. Hamlin engine blow was beautiful. That just looked awesome, says Shai. Yeah, and he kept driving it too, and the thing was on fire. Like I don't know what happened with the spotter communication there or whatever, but it was super interesting that he kept driving it even though it had blown up and it was all the way on fire. There had to be tons of smoke in the cabin as well. So yeah, I don't know. It was super weird that I would have immediately been out of the car. So it is what it is. Glad I watched Caitlin Clark play than waste my time watching this race, says Mark Barnum. It wasn't that bad of a race though. It just it was good because of the cautions though. So as far as that goes, it wasn't. I would say it was probably an average race, but it was definitely bailed out by the cautions. If they'd had a long green flag run, but they didn't. So ifs and buts are candy and nuts. We'd all have a Merry Christmas and all that good jazz. But yeah, but glad you got to watch Caitlin Clark there, my friend Mr. Mark. Let's see. Agreed, Shah, says Rosie. So Rosie jumping in on the Denny hate wagon. So she is on the anti-Hamlin brigade there. Ford still in third place in points. Says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, I haven't even looked at the manufacturer points this year. Let's take a quick look at those because I don't think I've addressed them at all this season. Which is amateur hour at best. Driver's points, owner's points. Oh, they don't have it over here where I normally go. We'll do it later. We'll do it some other point. So yeah, Ford still in third place there. A1, what's up, my friend? Always good to see you on the stream here. If I'm going to blow an engine, that's how I want to do it rather than just laying down like an old dog. Yeah, it's probably more annoying to have one just go away for several laps and have to just sit there and get passed by everybody before it eventually lets go. If it all just lets go at once, that is kind of better. As long as you don't wreck. Then he did hold on to it, so credit to him there. Watched the F1 race for most of the NASCAR race, says Bruce Garvey. So Bruce Garvey gave F1 the ratings over NASCAR today. Watch the highlights, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, the highlights will definitely you'll like the highlights. There was definitely some good highlights, so you'll be good as far as that goes. I saw some of the F1 race says in between the lanes. I did not even watch the F1 race, so let's pull it up real quick and see who finished behind Max Verstappen. Let's see F1 results today. Oh, Piastri. Piastri looks like with the win. Lando finishing second, and Jorge Russell is in third. Mad Max fourth, and Alex Albon in fifth for Williams. So there you go. There is your that's the extent of my F1 knowledge. We've maxed it out, so we'll move right along. Let's see. I can't believe that Fox chose the UFL over NASCAR. Yeah, I mean, it's Fox, man. They're always trying to push something. It's just interesting that they gave NASCAR this much money to put it on the back burner to try to force people to get cable or Fox streaming or whatever they're trying to do these days. Let's freaking go. 22 says Russell Dominguez. Indeed. Indeed. A few people on here called it that Joey Logano would win, especially after getting DQ'd. So now he's locked himself into the playoffs with the win. And he's not even worried about the points they took away from him on the previous races. Jimmy Johnson running the Coke 600. I don't know what Jimmy Johnson's schedule is this year. Let's see. He is running the Coke 600 on the 25th. So there you go. He will be in that one for sure. So look out for Jimmy Johnson in the Coke 600. He will be coming your way in a couple weeks, I believe. Kansas is next week. And then what is it? The All-Star, then the Coke 600 maybe. Indy Next is like watching F1. I watched Indy Next on FS1. It says in between the lanes. So there you go. Indy Next getting 2 thumbs down from Mark Barnum, but in between the lanes watched it as well. Work phone, Cassandra jumping in and saying, yes, Jimmy Johnson is in the 600. So there you go. Double confirmed. We've got Jimbo running in the Coke 600. He's really good at Charlotte. So hopefully he can get the mojo going like he did at Daytona this season. Tim Cindric was in the booth for the Indy Next race. So there you go. Tim Cindric taking over basically the full reins as far as the IndyCar side of Penske goes. What would worry NASCAR is you look at the F1 crowd, it's all young adults with lots of disposable income, what advertisers love, says Bruce Garvey. That's probably a pretty fair point, no doubt about it. Chris Myers at the track is a waste of money and resources. His presence adds nothing. So Jesse Daly firing heavy shots at Chris Myers. Interesting. Look out for JJ at the 600. Well, that's one way to put it. Dude is an obstacle, says Asha. So he's got a lot of wins there. Let's look at how many wins Jimmy Johnson. He has 8 NASCAR Cup Series wins at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, including 4 consecutive wins in the Coke 600. So there you go. He did have at one point 4 consecutive. So there you go. Keyword had, said Shaw. So there you go. With it being the 600, I think this is it for Jimmy. Great Daytona finish, end of a great career, says Cody Ledger. And not for nothing, the Coke 600, the longest race of the season. Jimmy Johnson, I know, stays in amazing shape, but it is asking a lot. It is asking a lot to jump in there and do that race when you're not used to running these cars all the time. So it'll be interesting from that perspective as well. Larson will raise the viewership for both Indy and the NASCAR races coming up later this month. I agree with you 100%. I hope the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors home. Says in between the lanes. Well, the Magic are out, so I will not watch until the NBA Finals. So I'm done with it until then. But hopefully your team does well, or whoever you're pulling for, or whoever you DraftKinged upon. Let's see. Would love to know how much money and equipment was tore up this week. Oh, probably a lot, Bruce Garvey. They had a few small ones and a few medium ones, but it was a lot of wrecks for sure. There's going to be a lot of damaged equipment. So the bill will be high. The repair bill will for sure be high. All right. Looks like we reached the end of it for this one. Final results of the poll question. It was an okay race, 56%, 21% saying they loved it, 18% saying average race, and 5% saying it was a bad race. I'm kind of hoping the Knicks get past the Celtics. Not going to be easy, though. So, yeah, if the Knicks can upset the Celtics, that would certainly give them I feel like a really good shot to get to the finals there. But it's going to be an interesting play NBA playoffs, regardless of what happens for sure. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Until the next one, y'all take them easy. Peace.